Quick recap of Wednesday, October 8th. We're going to go over multiple sports algorithms today. We're going to go over college basketball. We're going to go over NBA with a game that's finishing up in overtime right now between Sacramento and Portland. We're going to go over NHL, and we're going to go over college football because we have all these algorithms. They're all available on kenbraverman.com if you'd like a copy. So actually, let's start with college football. The lines were not good, but all these teams won. And apparently they all covered their spreads as well. So good for them. Toledo, Bowling Green, and Miami. Do you want to see what other games are? Here's some games for tomorrow. Louisville against Virginia. Louisiana against Southern Miss. You can see they're all big favorites. And here's a bunch of games for, what is this, Friday? 2 games on Friday. And then a bunch of games on Saturday. Because that's college football. If you want a copy, you can purchase one. It's not the best algorithm, but it's okay. So that's college football. Let's go over to NHL, actually. NHL, just the toughest sport to predict. Best sport to watch and best sport to play, in my opinion, but it's so tough. LA beats Vegas. Ottawa beats Toronto. The only game it gets right is Florida beating Washington. Hockey is tough to predict, the toughest. Next, college basketball. Well, we were almost perfect at a 5% bump, except UNLV. I mean, what causes a perfect algorithm day to lose? Vegas does. Of course they do. UNLV blows the game at minus 4,500. What was Southern's odds to win this game? Southern was, oh my goodness, Southern was plus 2,200, 22 to 1 shot. Southern beats UNLV. Everything else wins. The only real underdog on here, even though they were minus 105, was San Diego because Jackson State was minus 110. So technically they were the underdog in this game. They win and they cover. So algorithm does do that well. Southern Methodist covers down here, and the algorithm did not think that was going to happen. So that's kind of almost a loss for the algorithm, even though they win the game. But at a 5% bump, all these teams end up winning. You go 6-4 on the spread, and there you go. You know, another day. Here you go, 9-1. 90% of your teams win. A little less than 90% of your home teams, 89% of them, because there are only 9 of them. But yeah, college basketball, purchase copy. It's going to make you money. So that's what it does. Now let's go over to NBA. So NBA. We really need to start testing macros in this file because that will help give us better distributions. There's a Sacramento Kings Trailblazers game where Sacramento's up by 1 with 41 seconds left. Let me show you how to test the algorithm for the day today. All right, here's what you do. So there's a range. I got to ask this today, so I'm going to show you an example of how to do this and how to test the macro. All the games today start in row 150 and they end in row 177. If you go to Formulas Name Manager and go to Cube History, you want to change this to AS 150 to Z 177, right? Believe that's all the games. See if that's looking good. Yep, that's highlighting all the games. Once you've done that, you're now looking at just the games for today when you want to run the macro. So we're going to do that. Everything's clear here in the testing cube. So all you do is you go to view, go to macro, view macro, run it. What it's going to do is it's going to run 100 different sample distributions of all the variables that we look at. And it's going to test them all, and it's going to find out if we can have any distribution that has what's the distribution that has the best day, basically. Right now, it's about 7 and 6 is what you can see. It keeps kind of popping up there. If you have epilepsy, do not look at the screen right now because it's going to drive you nuts. But it's testing all of these, and it'll take about a minute. It doesn't take very long. When it's done, we're going to go and we're going to look at the comparison pivot sheet, and we're going to see if there was any distributions that were better than 7 and 6. And we're going to see what those distributions looked like. Because it's pretty helpful as you end up accumulating more stats throughout the year, you kind of want to run this every day or at least every week to see what are the best distributions so that you can use them in the toggle combo number cell. And I will show you what that looks like once they are done here. As I keep an eye on the score of the game with 23 seconds left, Sacramento still holding on by 1 point. We're about 41 combinations, 42 combinations through the 100 that it is running as a sample, 45, 46. It will get there here in about 30 seconds, maybe close to a minute. And so it's going to help out and test all these distributions that are over here on the left: wins, losses, points per game, steals, rebounds, all the different stat categories that we look at. It's just testing out a bunch of sample distributions so that we can, regressively or reverse engineer which percentages would have yielded the best results, both in terms of win-loss and also in terms of how the projected scores are working. And the only thing about this that makes it a little difficult is that you have to pay attention to the health percentages and the injury report. The injuries are, I think, the most important factor when it comes to NBA games, because a team that's missing significant players, these are superstar players, it makes a huge impact on the game. And so when we get a look at the win-loss, we're going to start taking a look at if this game's mirrored the injury report as well. So we will see here in a second. Almost done. 82, about 83, about 15 more to go here. And then I'll show you how you sift through the compare pivot sheet. 86, 87, got a lot of processing going on. Sacramento has taken the lead by 3 with 13 seconds left. And we'll be able to put that score in here also once that game is done. And the macro has finished. So now once the macro has finished, go over to the compare pivot sheet and you refresh this pivot table by choosing right-click and refresh. And what's going to pop up is it's going to pop up all the results, and it's going to show every single combination and the number of win-losses. Here's the combination number. We're going to shrink this. We're going to collapse all. Right-click, expand, collapse entire field when you right-click on this. And we're going to then sort this descending by wins. 42 wins. That seems like too much. That's too many wins. Something's wrong. 60 games. What's our cube history look like? Oh, no. Oh, no, we did it wrong. Yuck. All right. I guess the cube history I didn't press the check mark button. Oh, goodness gracious. Cube history. Yep, I didn't do the check mark. So I didn't save the cube history change. So we just ran the macro for no reason. However, even though we just did that, what we'll do here is we'll say, all right, well, combination 20 actually historically had the best record. So let's put in combination 20 here and see how combination 20 did today. You put 20 up here under the toggle number. Let's see if we can beat 7 and 6. 8 and 5. So it is better. And the Sacramento game is also now over. So let's adjust the final score of the Sacramento game, which ended up being 118. Nope. Yeah, 118, 121. Sacramento beat Portland. That is the final score. And then go back and refresh. And you can see this is actually a 9 and 5 day. And there isn't really any logic to the health about who won or lost, except this loss here, Charlotte losing to the Wizards. They were not healthy, so that kind of makes sense. And these two teams were both unhealthy down here at Memphis and Miami. But as you can see, this is a better win-loss at 7 than the 7 and 6 that it was previously. So you can run that macro. As you can see, I didn't get the cube history range correct. We would go back and we would change the cube history here to 1. Oh, it is there. What happened? Not Z31, Z177, right? Believe that is what we wanted. So weird that that didn't work. Cube history. Cube history. Yep, now it's working. So what you would do is you would go back and you would remove the testing cube. And you would go back and you would run everything again. View, macro, view macro, run. And we will try running it just one more time because as you can see, it doesn't take all that long. And I'll just talk for another minute here while we do it, and then we can refresh. But this is basically the process. And it's going to give you an advantage as you continue to test out all these distributions. And also, you'll be able to look at the winning distribution and the one that provided the best results for the day. You also can look through the variables and see, well, which variables were most impactful. In terms of statistics, what you're really saying is the coefficient of the independent variables that we're looking at, which was the most relevant, which had the best p-score, right? The coefficient of the variable is, how relevant was this factor when it comes to determining outcomes of the games. That's what you're really doing. And we'll let this go because even though it takes a minute, it's really not that bad in the scheme of things. So we will get there. We are almost getting there. I just want to see, it's probably not combo number 20. I want to see if we can beat combo number 20 for the day, because that's the one that I would use tomorrow when we set up this file, whatever combo number ends up coming out. You can also run this on more than just one day. You could change that cube history range to all the games and see which combo history would provide and yield the best results over the entire season so far with all the games in here, not just one day at a time. Although I recommend to do one day at a time. If you're you have this file and really mess with it every day, doing it one day at a time kind of helps you. You end up looking at those variables every day and seeing if some variable keeps showing up there as being statistically significant and having essentially a high coefficient by having a big number in there. Almost done. And when it's done, we'll go back and 97, 98, 99. And go back to the compare pivot sheet, refresh, and one of these combinations ended up winning 10 games. Combination 79. Where's combination number 20? Let's take a look. Combination number 20 is right there in 32nd place, going 8-5 apparently. But combination 79 ended up being the best one. So let's put that in there and see what that did. That goes 11-3 today. How about that? Combination number 79, which is this distribution strength. Steals, rebounds, three-pointers made, field goal percentage, total points per game. And as you can see, rebounds and steals and three-pointers made on average and field goal percentage, these were the most impactful. Margin of victory, not very impactful at all. Blocks, not very impactful. Adjusted defensive rating, not as impactful. Now, number of losses is a big negative. That's actually a big factor as well, because that's a negative number, but it's still large in absolute value terms, being 13. So yeah, combo number 79, which is what I would go with tomorrow. You end up losing the Clippers, the Mavericks, the Celtics, and everything else wins. So, and 9-5 on the spread. How about over-unders? We don't have over-unders. We're not tracking them on here, are we? I could add that to this file as well. Anyway, I just wanted to run that for those that were asking because it's in a current video, but it's still not as good as this guy. I mean, the college basketball algorithm is still, it's the best thing out there. All right, so good luck. I hope it picks one today and tomorrow. You just buy a copy of this. I'm not doing any videos except for those people that purchase the file. You get access to that. You would have known through my email to bet San Diego today. They won and they covered, and you would have won. All right, good luck. Your picks be winning.